Hauke, welcome. I'm so proud and honored to be here to share with you our incredible journey that we have taken over the last almost a year. Give you a little bit of background. I am the TQIS Success and STEAM Coordinator here at Viejas Tribal Education, and I've worked here for 16 years. And TQIS Success, what that means, you'll hear about that in the presentation, is we have a unique opportunity to be on the school campuses here in Alpine to support our students, to support them in culture, to support them in language. We've worked very long and very hard over the past 12 years to bring the administration up to par to allow us to have our students share what they feel comfortable sharing. So it's been a long, long process. The Community Service Department includes our preschool, and we have our preschool teachers that are here with us today. And yes, give them a round of applause. It is Educators Week, so we honor all the educators. If you are a leader, you are still an educator. We have our after-school program, which is for kindergarten through 12th grade, where we have scholastic support and tutoring available. We also have that available for our college students to navigate through the college experience. We have the recreation program, and our rec staff, some of our rec staff is here. So we have a craft room there where they can do crafts and cooking. They have culture available for them. And the STEAM lab is over there, and our sports program is over there as well. So I have the privilege and the honor to be able to work with all of these groups of amazing people and students. So I get to work with the littles all the way to the adults. So to tell you how we came about, what was the process that happened for creating a growth mindset and a culture of resilience, is what we were seeing with our students was they didn't know how to come back from failure. Failure meant I quit. It's a mountain. I stop. I don't know how to move past that. So, and for many of us, we had to look ourselves as leaders, as teachers. How do we frame failure? What does that mean? Is it a stopping point? Do I have tools in my toolbox to move on? Like Thomas Edison said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. Michael Jordan was kicked off of his high school basketball team. What if he had stopped there? The Beatles were told by one of the contractors that they went to go and try and get into show business, into the music industry, you don't have a future here. So what if they stopped? What if that was it? We would be robbed of those beautiful experiences. So on our journey of creating a growth mindset, we started to ask ourselves questions. How are we hindering our students' process? How are we enabling them to succeed? Or are we enabling them to fail? And then when they do fail, what tools do they have? Are we giving them tools, or are we doing? For many of us who might be parents, that's, as well as educators, that's a hard thing, because I want to help you, I want to do it for you. But we hinder our children, our students, we hinder staff when we do things for them. So this is the journey, our journey as a team, of how we implemented a growth mindset. What kinds of things did we do? What kinds of questions did we ask? And we're very fortunate to be led by an incredible leader, Brenda Garcia, who allowed us to stand up and go, I don't think this is working. How can we do it differently? What do we need? How do we incorporate culture and language, indigenous wisdom and knowledge, Kumeyaay knowledge? How do we incorporate that and embrace our students and honor them where they are at, where they're coming from, honor the internal dialogue? So in creating a growth mindset, we had to ask ourselves, well, what is it? Okay, a growth mindset is about being positive, about embracing challenges, about taking feedback. I like how you told me that. I think I'm going to try that next time. Failure leads to success. Embracing that and flipping the switch on failure. So it builds resilience. If I try and something isn't working, and then I try something different, I'm getting information, right? So failure doesn't mean a stopping point. What it means in a growth mindset is it means that I have some tools to go, oh, that told me something. Maybe I'll try this next time, or I see where I made a mistake and I can move forward. My favorite is yet. I'm not good at that yet. You'll see one of our, later on in the slideshow, you'll see one of our growth mindset where the teachers had to then implement a teaching lesson was a juggling scarves. I don't know how to juggle scarves well yet. So incorporating that word yet, it's not a stopping point, because in a mindset, failure is my stopping point. I don't know what to do now. I shy away from challenges. Oh, that's too hard. I'm not going to try that. I don't know how. A lot of negative self-talk is involved in that. Seeing problems as a problem. And here, problems aren't problems. The problem is looking at a problem and thinking that problems are a problem, right? It's like, oh, it's an experience. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to work with. So in a fixed mindset, you hear a lot of, I can't, I don't know, I'm not good enough, I'm not as good as, fill in the blank. So for many of us as staff, those are words that we have within ourselves, like, I don't know how to do that. Well, we translate that to fellow staff members. That negativity can transfer, it transfers to our students. And then we wonder why, I wonder why they don't feel like they can do that, right? So what we focused on was we focused on a positive attitude, embracing positivity, encouraging our students. Many of you do that as young teachers of young students. We have to frame things in a positive way for them. That's what we're taught. But somewhere along the way, we fall into some negativity. So we focused on, as I said, celebrating successes, being positive, framing things in the do's, not the don'ts. Because remember, what you say and how you say it matters. So asking questions. You were asked a bunch of questions, this past speaker, when he asked us this. Kids love to answer questions. How did you get it to do that? Wow, that's amazing. Tell me what your process was. What were the steps? So we're encouraging that critical thinking. We're expanding on their communication. And we're talking to them in, ownership. This little girl, one of the little girls that you see in this picture, failure for her meant crawling under the table and stopping. So when she finally got this tower to stand up, it was like, wow, what a celebration. How did you get it to do that? Tell me, what was the process? So I'm encouraging language. I wonder if. What a great question, right? I ask my students all the time, well, what would happen if I did that? Or what would happen when this happens? Oh, in the STEAM lab, we do this all the time. They will come, I leave it to be child-centered. So they will come in and they'll go, I think I want to create something that would be earthquake-proof. And I'm like, great. How are we going to do that? What tools do you need? How are you going to make that happen? How are you going to simulate an earthquake? These are kindergartners that are asking these questions because they've been given an opportunity to do and be in an open growth mindset environment. So all the kids that we work with, 21st century skill sets, Fortune 500 companies have said, these are the 4 C's. These are what our kids will need when they go out into the workforce. And most of the jobs that they're going to experience probably don't even exist yet. Number 1, creativity. Can you think outside the box? How would you do that? How would you solve that problem? Critical thinking. Critical thinking is not knowing the answer to questions. It's knowing what questions to ask to get the right answers. And maybe sometimes the wrong answer or the wrong question, right? Communication. We've already heard about how important that is. Communication, effective communication. Can I express to you what is happening within my heart, what's happening within my brain? Can I do that on a computer? Can I do it on the written word? And can I talk to you? Here again is about relationships. We are responsible for helping children build relationships. Collaboration. Can I learn from other people? You know, this is one of the biggest things that companies, excuse me, say is we have a bunch of people with great ideas, but they don't know how to work with others. So here we get an opportunity as teachers, and those of you that work strictly with young students know getting down on the floor and playing with the blocks, doing the Legos, any kind of manipulatives that we have available. That's the crux. That's how they relate to the world, right? So, interesting thing, all of our Native communities relied on creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration prior to colonization. These were skills that different tribes had to have. They had to be able to communicate. They had to be able to work together. They had to solve problems. There's a food shortage. What do? There's no Safeway or Vaughn's to go to get food. So the leaders have to work together. How do we solve this problem? How do I feed my people, right? So solving those problems. So I find it very interesting that those 4 C's were always here. Wherever you work, they were there for your friends. Oh, thank you. So one of the big things, self-esteem. How do you feel about yourself? Do you know your abilities? Do you know your strengths? Do you know your vulnerabilities? Do you know your weaknesses? Do you have a support group that helps support who you are? I have a cheering section over here that without them, I could not do my job. So I know that I have to rely on my work community. I have to look to them and go, I don't know how to do this. Could you help me with that? Right? I know how to reframe failure. This did not work. What could I do differently? Help me to see. I welcome criticism. Constructive criticism helps me grow. I build strong relationships. I'm in touch with my language, my cultural language, my ancestral knowledge I have connection to that. I can set boundaries. And again, being in strong relationships, we're teaching, we are changing the face of how people can interact. When we honor and allow people to be who they are, we make those changes in a climate that is sometimes rough, sometimes racist, sometimes derogatory. We help change that by the way that we help foster that sense of self and that sense of pride. So, as you look at this, I want you to ask yourself, wherever you work with students, in your classroom, wherever it is that you meet them, outside, do you display mistakes? Yes, let's honor those. Let's honor mistakes. Flip the switch on failure, because that has to become an integral part of our teaching. That has to be a part of our education, that I'm gonna fail. Those things are gonna happen. Are cooperation skills taught? How are they taught? Do we talk to our students about, are we saying the do's, the don'ts? Are we talking to them about, this is how people can communicate to each other? Our positive affirmations, whatever you interpret that to be, can be, I love myself. I'm proud kumai, or I'm proud whoever, whatever that happens to be. How is your culture and language represented in your space? Do you allow students to touch and feel their culture, to hear their language? Are you a problem solver? Can you embrace challenges? Love challenges today. I was not always that way, but today I go, I'm a solutionary thinker, and I want students to feel empowered to be solutionary thinkers and doers. Celebrate successes. Yay, you made the best L today for the beginning of your name. How awesome is that? And accentuate that. Make a big deal about those things. Honor when they want to be a part of culture. And honor all feelings, even if they're uncomfortable. Because some of us are like, oh, wait, they just said they hate that. And some of us are uncomfortable with that word. I'm not uncomfortable. I ask, what do you hate about? I quite often get kids, I hate school. I'm like, what do you hate about school? And usually that opens up a dialogue that has nothing to do with school, but has something to do with how they're feeling. Because if I just said, oh, you don't hate school, I've turned off their inner dialogue and I don't see them. I'm not honoring them and I don't hear them. Say yes more often. Can you say yes? Yes! Let's say yes more often to our students. Tell them what to do, not what not to do. So if walking is a safety issue and you need them to walk inside, running's for outside. Walk inside, right? Takes a little bit more effort on our part, absolutely. But what it does is help to create an environment of positivity. So creating the space, right? We need to create a space. This is in Abby's pre-K classroom. I think they were doing pictures that day and had a variety of age group of kids. And I just had a bunch of tools that I brought in that we were playing with. There were cups and papers and stacking, and I had the kids, we were just like, oh, wow, look at that. Oh, look what he did. Wow, look at that's amazing. So we focused on strengths, not our deficits, right? We all know what our deficits are. I don't need you to tell me that, and I don't need you to keep putting that out there for me. I'm well aware. But when you help me to focus on my strengths, I can stand up taller. I can stand up proud. I'm proud of who I am and where I come from, right? believe that change is possible. An important part, right? Because change is the only constant that we have as people, as animals on this planet. Limit your yes and no questions. This is sometimes a tough one. It's like, well, I want to know what your favorite color is. Well, tell me about your favorite color. What does your favorite color smell like? If your color could talk, what would it say? So when we ask that, we expand thinking, we expand language. So build understanding, avoiding judgments. You know, I have my personal judgments need to stay out of the classroom, because if I bring those in and I'm triggered by that, kids feel that, right? We know they're all sponges and they will feel those kinds of things. They just are. So communicate the why. Obviously, the why is so important. We need to know, well, why are you asking me to do this? What are the benefits? What are the changes that I will see? We started, this was last June, so it hasn't even been a year yet. We started with staff. We started teaching the growth mindset. And in a very short amount of time, because we're not even hit a year yet, we see more compassion. We hear communication skills have expanded. Doesn't mean we don't have conflicts, because we do. Welcome conflicts, right? But the students have more tools to deal with them in a more effective and more kinder way with each other. You know, take this from Gandhi. Be the change you want to see. You want to see calm and compassionate and proud students of who they are and where they are from? Model that for them. Tell them, why are you proud? Thank you. I tend to do this. I could talk about this. This is my life passion here. So, how to communicate? I've already said this, you know, tell students what you need them to do rather than what not to do. What part do you need help with? Crucial. Allow for the struggle, because what that teaches them is, what do I need? I want to keep going. I have a surge and a power inside of me that I want to bring out. Because when you do it for me, when you draw it for me, when you pick it up for me, you tie it for me, you get it for me, you do all these things for me, all I learn is that you can do it better. So, reflections. Play. Play more with your students. Play more with your preschoolers. Play more with your elementary school, your high school students, your college students, because they're thriving when they do get to play. Explore, reframing failure, challenge yourself, think outside the box. Here are some of our amazing students, and I really need to let you know this. So up here on the top, at one of our schools, elementary schools, at the beginning of the year, I asked the students, what would you like to share with your classmates? I had some students who asked for our bird singer, Blue Vigil, to come in and sing. And he sang and talked to the kids while they danced bird songs in front of the whole school. This is what they wanted to share. We had a young man who loved when he learned at summer cultural program about the rabbit sticks. And he wanted to share that with his fellow students. So culture is totally woven into everything that we do. We had students that wanted to build a tower cup that was taller than they were, and they did it. Amazing things. Young girl here, Lalani, who wanted to share Pioli. a treat, Kumeyaay sweet treat, was the hit of the school. Everybody wanted more. Can you make more? Can we have more? So it's just amazing because this is child-driven. Thank you. So let's bag it up. What I mean by that is to have a belief system of positiveness. Take action. Come out of your comfort zone so that you can grow, that you can build your resilience. See your goal. Understand what are the obstacles and how do I get over, under, around, through in our resilience, in our positivity growth mindset. Clear your mind of self-doubt. Embrace challenges. Stay on track. Show the world that, yes, you can do it. How will you, in your centers, your practices, adopt a growth mindset? How will you build resilience for your students? What questions will you ask? Think about that. What questions could you ask? What can you learn from your students? So that ends my little piece right here. But I want you to have another part of this is I want to bring up two of our tribal people so you get a tribal perspective on how this has changed us as a team and the impact that it's had on our students. So I'd like to welcome up Mercedes Gonzalez to come to the stage.
I think so. Can you hear me? So hello everyone, my name is Mercedes Gonzalez and I'm a Viejas tribe member here. I have worked in our education department for probably around 14, 15 years, starting with preschool. I've grown through all of the grades, and I'm currently working with middle school students. So when Debbie presented this new aspect of our jobs to us, it was challenging. I have to be honest with you. As educators, it's hard to be uncomfortable and do things out of your norm, and kind of not feel like, oh my gosh, I should know how to do this. I should feel confident in this. Why am I not feeling confident in this? This is a weird feeling. I don't like it. But as we grew as a team, I started to realize, especially for myself, working with middle schoolers, that's a sensitive age. They are coming into their own. Number one, they think they know everything. They have it all figured out. Nobody knows how they feel. But I had to remind them and myself that if I can't be uncomfortable and do things, how can I expect them to be uncomfortable, to challenge themselves, and for them to grow as well? So I had to embrace this wholeheartedly and take it on the chin and take it with a smile and just continue to push myself. As I did that, I learned a lot with my students, especially in middle school, like I said. Middle schoolers nowadays have everything at their fingertips. They will hardly even speak to you. I have teenage children, and they live in the same house as me, and they still hardly speak to me sometimes. So it's hard to pull that out of that age group. But when we started to do things that challenged them just individually, it started to build their confidence too. That they're able to make mistakes, they're able to not know the answer, and it's okay. They're still figuring it out, and it's fine, and we're all figuring it out together. So that was really encouraging to see. And they started to feel confident in themselves, and they were able to challenge themselves and be okay with maybe not knowing the answer, or maybe being okay with not being okay in the moment. Because a lot of times we push them, and we want them to interact, or they want to say something, and they don't. They really don't. They would rather not. So pushing them to speak and use their voice and just be confident in who they are was a huge accomplishment in my program. Culturally, I will say that as Native people, to step out in this way is something you just kind of don't do. You know, we work with children. I grew up in a time where children were seen. They were not heard. If you spoke when you were not spoken to, you were disrespectful, that wasn't necessary, nobody rang your buzzer, and you didn't need to answer. So even that, I had to change my mindset on that as well, is that now, this day and age, it is okay to speak. You do want children to express themselves respectfully, of course. So changing those little things within ourselves, even, along the lines of men don't cry, that's a weakness. That's not true. Men have feelings, women have feelings, we all have feelings. But if we continue with that mindset, we're only hurting ourselves in the long run. We're raising up young children to keep their feelings internalized. It's going to come out later in their adulthood years, and that's not necessarily what we want. We know what that path looks like, and ultimately we're trying to break that. We're trying to deter that. We're trying to change that. So that was something to kind of take mind of. And those are things that we actively, now as Native people, are not necessarily going back and recreating, but we are redirecting, and that is okay, and that is needed, especially in this day and age. So that was something that I was able to welcome and put my own personal twist on and be relatable, to be able to sit with my students and my kids, and I call them all my kids because I've worked with children for a long time, and I see them in all aspects now. I have some that I worked with them in preschool, and now they're in their adulthood. They just got married, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my baby. I remember when you were 4. Things like that. But just retraining and just changing that and just being able to tell them, hey, I didn't have it all figured out. I've been there. I know what that feels like. And even further so, in a personal note, with my own children, I always try to demonstrate a way of being like, I would never want you to see a glimpse of some of the things that I've seen. So if I can create an environment for you that you feel safe, you feel welcome, you're loved, I feel like that's a job well done. And that's my goal. My goal is to create that place where they have love and they have a place to always go, where they're always welcome no matter what, at any age. That is my personal goal. And so I believe when we as adults now working with children can retrain our minds and do something uncomfortable, do something different that challenges us, that is us today breaking generational curses educationally and socially and emotionally, and I think that is the ultimate win of life, and I think that it would be great. So I challenge you guys in your workplace to be okay with being uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable being up here, and I'm okay. So just encouraging that, and to just remember that we have children and their young minds at such a short time in their lives, but the impact that we pray that would last for a long time. So thank you for that, and see you around. Next coming up is Shane Craddock. He's also a tribal member from here as well, so he'll be making his way.
Hauka Nyatashich, Shane Craddock, Matarawa Kopai. I come from this area. My grandpa is Clarence Brown. This is the reservation that I grew up on. Real quick before I get started, before I ever heard the phrase growth mindset, I watched it. My Aunt Vera back here has been going to school. She has more classes, more certificates, more everything than anyone I know, and she's about to graduate with her bachelor's, which is tremendous, but that's all she's ever done is chase after growth. And so I'm thankful for the model. Hopefully I've learned a little something. As we go through this, Debbie's done a great job. Sadie's, her kids are amazing, and they love her. And and they spoke about environment, which is so tremendous. You're responsible for the environment that your kids are in. You're responsible for how they feel, what they think. You're responsible for all those things, but it's about creating an environment. In your environment, can growth happen? In your environment, does growth get stifled? And it's not your fault if it's the way it is, but you have a chance now to fix that. A couple things that I wanted to touch on before we really go into this is growth mindset is about a couple things. It's about honesty. Are you honest with yourself? Do you tell the truth when you're asked these questions, when you're in the group sessions? Or do you hold something back for fear of being judged, right? Are you able to be fully honest? The other part of this is consistency. Are you consistent in your practices? Or do you try it for a month and, man, I'm not really getting the results I want, and you abandon it? And I'll tell you this from a lot of years of growing up in Indian country and then working in Indian country for the last 20 years, is this, that programs get abandoned far too often. We work in a grant, run system. So every 2 to 3 years, a program either ends or gets renewed based on the data. And I saw the research team up here, and they were talking about all that. Data's great, but something Indian country is sorely missing, and this is a growth thing, is consistency. Sometimes it's not a 2-year thing. You might not see results for 10 years. There's kids Sadie's has worked with that they were trouble, boy. They were trouble. But 10 years later, because every time they seen Sadie's, she loved them and hugged them and told them they were awesome and encouraged them and smiled at them and made their voice feel welcomed, like they had a voice. It happened for a decade, and then finally they realized who they were, right? So please stay consistent. Don't quit on your programs. Your ideas are amazing. Just think about it 5, 7 years, not 2 to 3. It's going to make a difference. The last thing that I want to say is that you guys don't quit. Indian country needs people for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They don't need a hot 5 years. And then because you get recognition and you're awesome in your ideas and your programs and all that stuff, now you get a great job and you dip out. Our people need consistency. They need someone to consistently love them. And they need people to model it. My aunt showed me that. It's all she's ever done is chase after being better. She's able to be humble. When she's wrong, she says it. She apologizes. We got to model these things. It starts with you. John Maxwell says that you got to know yourself to grow yourself, okay? And part of that is that introspection. Who am I actually? As a leader, I'm insecure, I'm impatient, I'm all kinds of things. But if I didn't lay that on the table, I could never deal with it. Are you honest with yourself? Do you look at who you actually are? Not who you hope to be. I'm not talking ESPN and the highlights. I'm talking about who are you actually? Are you honest? Are you dedicated? Are you diligent? Or are you just doing enough to get by because you're talented? I don't know. The last thing I want to say is we got to remind them of who they are. It's about casting vision. I come from a community here of great people. My grandpa was awesome. There's a ton of people at his funeral. Everywhere I go, I live in Temecula, which is like an hour and a half from here, but I grew up here. But when I introduce myself, they say, in the Indian country, who are your people? Oh, my grandpa was Clarence Brown. My mom is so-and-so, And they say, oh, I know your grandpa. He helped me with this, and he helped me with that, and he helped me with this. And they talk about how good of a speaker he was and how nice he was and how helpful he was. Remind these kids of who they are, who their people are. Hey, your people are generous. Your people are kind. Your people are this. And you set a standard for them to rise up. Give them a chance. These kids are amazing. And Debbie touched on resilience. And I'll end quick because I know we got things to do. But she touched on resilience. And it is something you can build up. But also, our people, I'll end here, have survived 3 separate times being conquered, genocides inflicted upon us. They stole our culture. They did everything they could to stop us. 3 separate times, Spanish, Mexican, and American governments all tried to do that to these people right here in this region. 3 separate times. And guess what? We're still here. We still sing. We still play peon. We still are generous and kind and helpful and giving. That's who we are. Remind them of that. Build them up in who they are, who their people are, things that are given naturally to them. From the time they take their first breath, you are, in this area, you are Kumeyaay. And remember who they are, right? All the way back, you look in old records, Cabrillo and all those guys, they wrote in their journals how beautiful we were, how nice we were. And even down in Conejos here, they said you could go to our community, and for 3 days, you could go there and visit and relax and do something. But after 3 days, you got to start putting in. Hey, let your kids be a part of your program. Just let them be in your space. And then tell them, hey, we got to be honest. We got to move forward. We got to try to grow. But it starts with you. Are you a better person than you were yesterday? That's what I'll leave you. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you Mercedes. I want to acknowledge my team. They're sitting over there. Would you guys please stand up? Because without them, this wouldn't have happened. Yes! Woo! Awesome. Thank you, thank you. So we're going to do a little taste of if you participate in the leadership workshop tomorrow in growth mindset, or the teacher, I think you call, what is it, direct caregivers? Yes? Okay. So we're going to do a little activity. On your tables, you have a piece of paper that looks like this. It says ask, ask, switch. On the back is also a resource that we have put together. Actually, Leticia did this for me. So these are all the resources that I use to create and write the curriculum. So on here, and you should also have popsicle sticks on your table. So if you have a smaller group, I invite you to join a bigger table, a larger table with more people. So on here, what you're going to do is you're going to pick a popsicle stick. Doesn't matter what color. And each popsicle stick is color coordinated to a question. So if you got purple, it says, what do you think of when I say, fill in the blank? Right? If you had red, when was a time that you felt, and fill in the blank? So you're going to ask, you're going to go at your tables, and then if you want to, you can get up and walk around as well. But you're going to ask, find a partner, ask that question of whatever your color-coded popsicle stick is, and then you're going to exchange popsicle sticks, and you're going to go on to somebody else and ask a different question. Are you ready? Are you ready? I challenge you to get up and move to different tables with your popsicle sticks. Ask somebody you don't know these questions and exchange. How many of you felt out of your comfort zone? Nice. Awesome. So, is being out of your comfort zone something that you feel is okay or not okay? All right, awesome. So here's where we start with the growth, because we have to make it safe for kids to move out of their comfort zone. That's crucial, right? Because if you're asking me to do something that feels uncomfortable and I don't feel safe, am I going to do it? Probably not. Am I going to have kickback? Behaviors? Probably. Probably. I see a lot of heads shaking here. You must work with littles, right? Or else teenagers, because the behavior isn't a whole lot different. Right? So this, our experience, as Sadie has said, was stepping out. Constantly I'm asking teachers to step out of their comfort zone. You'll hear tomorrow some of the teachers go into details about what was the hardest. And I think changing our vocabulary sometimes is really hard. It's like, I want them to stop. Stop doing that. So I'm just going to yell out, stop, right? Except what is it telling? What is it teaching? If it's a safety issue, yes, I get it, right? But usually it's not a safety issue. So I challenge you over the course of these 2 days, meet somebody that you don't know. Ask them, where are you from? Who are you? What makes you tick? You know, what's important to you, right? And remember to honor that. We have people that traveled to come here to Kumeyaay land. And I'm going to leave you with two things here. One thing I teach my students who are Kumeyaay students, and we are in Kumeyaay territory, is it doesn't matter what the name changes to. This is Kumeyaay land, was Kumeyaay land, is Kumeyaay land, and it will always be Kumeyaay land, right? So that they have a sense of, yes, This is a good thing. It's a good thing to be kumeyaay. You know, it's a good thing to be who you are, because who you are is important. Then I'm going to give you 3 magic words that I say to my students all the time. And these are the most powerful words you can say to anybody, whether they're a grown-up or a little child. I believe in you. I say this to my students all the time. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to solve this problem without hitting. I believe in your ability to ask questions. I believe in you. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, team.